Good evening, this is Blazer News Network, or the BNN podcast. I'm your host, Jarek Martinez, co-editor for The Blazer. The podcast is for the week of March 26th. Let's jump ahead to JJC, a closer look. Today we got you 3 stories to cover, starting with a police chief who also happens to be a CEO for his line of work.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you today. I have to admit, though, that when I was first called and asked to speak to you, I was a little taken aback because I was told I'd be speaking to the business college instead of the criminal justice, which is usually where I'm asked to speak. And so I had to question, well, why are you inviting me in here today to talk about business?
Joliet Police Chief Brian Benton stopped by JJC last week to talk about how a police station runs like a business. Last year, Benton and much of the police department was shocked after winning 2015's Business/Employer of the Year by the Joliet Region Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Entity like the police department, not so much as a business, but just more as a function of our community. And so to be honored with it from the chamber, I had to ask the chamber president what was the criteria you used to select the organization to begin with, and how did we even get nominated? And so for some of the things that the chamber president pointed out to me that the board discussed, I had to sit back and scratch my head and say, you're right, we do that. And so to make that that kind of correlation between the police department as an organization and as a business is something that probably could be a class in and of itself here.
William O'Connor, JJC Business Department Chair, was just as stunned as Benton, but also took it as an opportunity to get JJC business majors a chance to look at different sectors to which they can apply their expertise.
Chief Benton had talked about is that leadership skills and serving our clientele, our customers, our shareholders, our citizens, it really doesn't matter. Good business practices can apply across the any organization. Certainly Dr. Mitchell has to be familiar with good business practices in serving as president of our college. And that's what we try to do in the business department, is to try to introduce students to leadership and management and skills in marketing and customer service and understanding finances. So I really appreciate the Chief coming today and talking to us.
Michelle Meyer, accounting business professor at JJC, saw the visit as another look in showing different career paths for students who see business as only applying to things like Google or McDonald's.
I had the opportunity to see how even organizations that aren't typically a business, they typically consider McDonald's or Walmart or something as a business, but this gave them an opportunity to see that the principles we teach them in the business classes, our accounting classes, business law, finance, marketing, you even heard them talk about marketing and social media, that those same principles apply into a municipality or to a police department or to maybe running the city itself or a park district or a school. All those same principles apply, or maybe a nonprofit organization.
Speaking of visits, Ada Deer also took the time to come to campus for JJC Women's Herstory Month program at this school.
Today, especially today with the current administration in Washington and then the governorships and so on, there's going to be tremendous need for good social workers. Millions of people are going to need lots of help.
Deer is a Native American social worker, political activist, and former head of the Federal Bureau of Indian Affairs. From her presentation, she highlighted several key women figures, some of whom she had met personally. In fact, one story to stand out was a chance moment with Eleanor Roosevelt.
Activities. You never know who you're going to meet and then how it will influence you. Okay? So I know I'm talking fast, but a lot of Americans talk fast. So you have to translate fast. At any rate, I knew that she was active in that. And so I asked her. Now, there were 100 of us, and we had a wonderful time. And she gave us a lecture. And then she said, well, are there any questions? So I'm looking around, practicing my culture, being respectful. Respect is such a human thing. Nobody raised their hand. So I thought to myself, see, I take initiative. I'm not sitting around waiting for nothing to happen, right? So I encourage you all to think about that too. All right, so then I thought, well, this is the only time I will ever have the opportunity to ask Eleanor Roosevelt for a question. So I asked her, Mrs. Roosevelt, you work at the UN, and And South Africa was starting their, they had started apartheid in South Africa started in 1948. And part of it was modeled on this country. They sent people over to this country to see how the American Indians were treated by this government. So they did some of the same things over there in South Africa. So I was there in 1956, so that was only 10 years after the war. And I knew that Mrs. Roosevelt was active. So I said, Mrs. Roosevelt, what should the UN do about South Africa? I said, they're killing their people, they're oppressing their people. Should the UN throw them out or what? And she looked at me just very respectfully and kindly with a lot of compassion. And she said, no, she said, you have to understand, change takes time. Now, I was 21 years old when Eleanor Roosevelt issued those words to me and to the group. I'm now 81, right? So I'm still remembering from that time. At any rate, she said, violence is not the answer.
After discussion, a raffle was held, with awards being National Woman History Project posters signed by Dear herself.
Empowered and enabled to give others their due in justice. But if we seek a right order of the world, it has to begin by acknowledging who is in true possession of the world.
Ending in a spiritual manner, a Catholic bilingual mass was held in room A1002 on campus. Father David Mowry of St. Mary Immaculate Parish held the service, which was hosted by JJC's Catholic Campus Ministries. Mowry recited prayers in both Spanish and English for the service, which was done in commemoration of Archbishop Oscar Romero.
Advisors sent me an email asking me if I'd be willing to come and say a bilingual mass as we commemorate Blessed Oscar Romero. Oscar Romero was just beatified by Pope Francis in 2015, and so the liturgical celebration of his memory is something new in the history of the Catholic Church. Now, since we are not in San Salvador, we don't get to celebrate the feast day with the full pomp and circumstance, but we still remember the holiness of his life and the example that he gives to us, and the unity of the Church's teaching in both the liturgical tradition and in the care for the poor and in the work of social justice.
According to club advisors, Marlene Kirscher and Linda Brodnicki will be setting up another mass on April 20th at the JJC Fine Arts Theater. Closing off BNN for the night, check out our latest issue of the Blazer issue, out now. New issue is coming March 29th. Keep tabs on our YouTube at the JJC Blazer channel, news by the students and for the students. Be sure to also check out our website at jjcblazer.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at jjc_blazer. Have a great night.